So what happened in a very quick series of events was we got to the base in New Jersey. We checked out the situation, and at that point, there were less than 1,000 new guests arrived from Afghanistan, less than 1,000. We now have about 6,000 guests on the ground, and the camp there is being built up to hold 14,000 displaced people from Afghanistan. It's really, really staggering to understand the magnitude of what's happening. And I'm fortunate that my teammates and I were there at the very beginning to see what was happening. As you can imagine, after any disaster, people need our help. People need help restarting. TR has the rebuild operation to get people back in homes. And when a family loses everything to a storm, they have to start somewhere, right? We've never dealt with humanitarian crises here at home, but these Afghan people who are coming over are literally coming over with nothing but the shirts on their back. I saw the first day I was there, August 27th, I saw 3 plane loads arrive of people, each plane holding around 100 to 150 people. And I saw 2 bags out of those 3 plane loads. Everybody else had nothing. I was fortunate to spend time with the matriarch of one of these groups, and she was about 1,000 years old, and she had 23 of her family members with her, and she was in a wheelchair, and everybody with her was a blood relation. It wasn't a relation through marriage or anything. It was a blood relation. So it was her children, her grandchildren, and her great-grandchildren. And she told me that they had lost, excuse me, they had lost 2 family members just trying to get out of the country. And those 23 people there at that moment were the only thing that her family had left. And she talked about her home village and they had lived there for thousands of years. And as they tried to make the journey to the airport, they were forced to throw away all of the belongings they were traveling with. And that included things like, a gold plate that was, 300 years old, things that we can't even consider as heritage items. But they made it out with 23 of their family members, and they were thankful to us for being able to give them, to give their children a lollipop or to give them a blanket when they landed in New Jersey. And that is just one of the endless stories that keeps coming. And like I said, we're about half full in New Jersey to where they aim to get. So where Team Rubicon was asked to plug in is the world of spontaneous donations and the management of those donations. And if you've ever been involved with disasters and donations management, it is the biggest shit show at any disaster. And after most disasters, somebody like the Salvation Army or Red Cross ends up with a pile of unused or of donated but worn clothing that have now gone to waste because they were unusable. So nobody wanted to be responsible for that. Department of Defense and the State Department said, can Team Rubicon do that? And we said, absolutely, we can do it. And we'll do it with a fucking smile, and we'll get things done really quickly and efficiently. So we immediately got inserted into the process of handling that. Now, every citizen in America wants to help and wants to do the right thing. But what you don't understand is when you go to donate, and I have done this myself, when you go to donate a used t-shirt or a used pair of pants, someone has to go through that and make the decision of whether or not that's in good enough condition to donate to someone. So add on top of that, the fact that we're trying to help these poor families retain their dignity and to treat them with empathy. So the last thing we're going to do is give them a pair of pants that are either culturally inappropriate or, have stains or things like that. So our volunteers quickly jumped into action, and we went from an initial warehouse of goods that had only been collected on the base in New Jersey. And we outgrew that warehouse in one day. And we're now in a warehouse that's about 20,000 square feet. You can see the photo on the left. And while that may look a little chaotic, it's actually quite organized, not because of me, but because of the hard work of all of our gray shirts. And they've set up an amazing process of one massive bay is for intakes, one bay is for sorting, one bay is for inventorying and palletizing. And then the final bay is where we fulfill orders for the families who now live on the base. So we have what's called Liberty Village, and it's a large section of the base, and it has barracks and food and medical and everything that can be provided to the new guests. Now, currently, there is no no hard plan in place through the State Department that guarantees when a family will make it off the base and into the community, but they're working on it through interviews and background checks and everything you can imagine. But they're expecting the guests to be at least here in New Jersey for over 6 months and possibly up to a year. So when you think of that, the perspective of they're going to need to build schools. They're going to need to, continue to build everything humanly possible to sustain a new city within a city. And all of this can only be done with the hard work of our gray shirts and the support of our donor network, the support of everyone on this call. It doesn't matter if you can get to the field or if you spend 10 minutes on social media and you put out a call that says, hey, the base in Fort McCoy, Wisconsin is having a clothing drive and they need your help. Every single thing that anyone on this call does to help is a significant help. Again, these folks are starting with nothing and we are there to help where nobody else could. And for me, it was quite a prideful moment when, we're at these briefings and it's yesterday we had the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and he's talking to all these military commanders and then passes it to Team Rubicon. That's not because of anything I did. It's because of the hard work of all of our gray shirts. And I was really proud to be able to represent us and speak to what we've been doing.